Going to be doing 3-3, which is solving systems of inequalities by graphing. Let's go to this view. Here we go. Okay, solving systems of inequalities by graphing. You already know that we're able to solve systems of equations by graphing, substitution, elimination, whatever you want. When it comes to solving systems of inequalities, so an inequality sign, which would be like this, right? The only way to solve it is by graphing, and I'll show you why in a second. So what you want to do is graph it like normal, y equals mx plus b. Do that just like you always do. And remember, it's either dotted or solid. You should already know all this from when we just graphed one line, okay? Shade your true side. Again, this should not be new to you. We've already done this before. You shade above or below, depending on the way that the arrow is pointing. Now this is a little bit new to you except for from Algebra 1. The overlapping shading is your final answer, not an ordered pair. So when we had equal signs, the answer was where they crossed. Now that we have shading, the answer is where the overlapping shading is. So what that means is every ordered pair in the shaded area is the answer. So we're not able to write all those ordered pairs down. That would take us forever. So instead what you do is you just shade it, and that's your answer. Remember, if you multiply or divide by a negative number on both sides of the inequality, you must switch the inequality symbol. So again, pause this, take 2 seconds, write it all down, but you should know all of this already. This should not be new to you. I'm going to move on, but if you need more time, pause it. Make sure you have your question column on the side if you have any questions. Remember, the x equals whatever goes this way, and the y equals whatever goes this way. You guys have to know that by now. It's going to save you a lot of time. Even though we don't do that in the notes today, it may be on your homework. So x equals whatever is up and down on the x-axis. Y equals whatever is left and right on the y-axis. Okay, so what we're going to do is solve the system of inequalities. You have to solve it by graphing. There is no other way to do it. So number 1, y is greater than 2x minus 4. Y is less than or equal to negative 0.5x plus 3. So we have to graph those. Are they already in slope-intercept form? Yes, they are. Just be careful. Make this a fraction or you're not going to know how to do it. So I have to go back to my normal view in order to write on here. Okay, so on this one, we're just going to leave it the way it is. What's m? 2 over 1. What's b? Negative 4. Very good. On this one, let's rewrite it as negative 1/2 x plus 3. That's a lot easier. What's m? Negative 1/2. What's b? 3. So I'm going to start with this one right here. Where do you start? Down 4, put a dot. From there, up to right 1, put a dot. Since we're not trying to see where these cross, that's plenty. 2 ordered pairs is enough. So is this going to be dotted or solid? Dotted, okay? And is it going to be above or below? It's going to be above, so I'm going to lightly shade above the line in yellow. Okay? So now let's graph the other one. Where do I start? 3. Down 1, right 2. Solid or dotted? Solid. And above or below? Below. So I'm going to graph this one in blue. So below my line in blue. So where the shading overlaps is your final answer. So I'm going to make my final answer purple. Do you see that the yellow and blue overlapped right here? So my final answer is this section of the graph. Do you guys see what I just did? You don't have to erase the yellow. You don't have to erase the blue. As long as it's easy for me to tell, usually I kind of go over it in black. I just make sure it's really easy to tell that this is the final answer right here. If you do this on your own at home, try using colored pencils, and wherever the colored pencils overlap is the answer. It's really easy. So again, the answer is not the ordered pair like, I don't know, 3, 2 or something. It is the shading. So everything in the shaded area is the answer. So for example, if I were to ask if negative 2, 1 was an answer, Yes, negative 2, 1 is in the shaded area. So this should be easy for you. We've already done these before. We just did one at a time. Now we're doing two at a time. It's not that big a deal. Take a second, copy this down, do it in your notes, grab some colored pencils or something. All right, number 2. Y is greater than or equal to the absolute value of x, and y is less than or equal to 4/3 x plus 5. Whenever you graph anything, you want y alone. Is y alone here? Yes. Is y alone here? Yes. So you should already know what this looks like. What shape does the absolute value of x make? You should already know that makes a V. Okay, if not, you can do a t-table, but I'm not going to do a t-table. I know exactly what that one looks like. Takes 2 seconds, right? It was solid. Now where do I shade, above or below? Y is alone. It says greater than or equal to. Greater than is above. So I'm going to shade everything above the line. On this one, what's your M? 4/3. What's your B? 5. Perfect. So where do we start? At B, which is 5. Put a dot on 5. Up 4, right 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Now, is that going to be solid or dotted? Dotted. Okay? And then am I going to shade above or below? That says less than, so you shade below. So below the dotted line is everything under here. So my final answer, I'm just going to do it in black. If you look, above the absolute value, but below the dotted line is right in here. This is my final answer right here. So any ordered pair in there is the answer. And that's it. So let's try to graph another one. Number 3. Y is greater than or equal to x plus 5. Y plus 4 is less than x. This should take you 2 seconds by now. You should already know how to graph this guy. You start at 5, up 1, right 1, solid, above. So up 5, up 1, right 1, solid. And in yellow, I'm going to do above. You don't have to use different colors at all. You can use your pencil. Just make your final answer darker. That's fine. This one, y is not alone yet, so we have to subtract 4. So where do I start? Down 4, up 1, right 1. This one is dotted and below. So I'm going to do this one in blue. It doesn't look like those cross, but we have to be very careful. What's the slope of the first line? 1. What's the slope of the second line? 1. So what kind of lines are those? They are parallel. Okay, so you have to check that. Because they're parallel, they're never going to cross. And because the shading is opposite directions, those are never going to overlap. So what is your actual answer here? No solution. Good. So they're parallel lines. The shading didn't overlap anywhere. So your answer, no solution. So that's it for the regular problems. That should be easy for you by now. It should take you 2 seconds, especially if it's already in slope-intercept form. If that's not easy for you by now, you really need to come in and get some extra help. We should be graphing lines like it's easy as 2 plus 2 by now. Okay? So take a second, write that down, put anything on your question column if you need to, and we're going to move on. All right, it's the same idea, but this time we're going to graph 3 lines. No big deal. If you can graph 2, you can graph 3, right? So find the coordinates of the vertices of the triangle formed by, so we're going to graph these 3 lines. It's going to make a triangle, and they want the vertices of where they make the triangle. Okay, so don't think too much. Let's just graph 3 lines and go from there. This first one, y is greater than or equal to 2x minus 8. That's already ready for us, so let's go ahead and write everything down. M is 2 over 1. B is negative 8. I'm going to go ahead and graph that now since I'm thinking about it. Go down 8, up 2, right 1. Because we want to see the ordered pairs this time, you really do need to keep going with your slope. So I'm going to go up 2, right 1 a couple more times. Before, it was just where the shading overlapped. So you really didn't have to get this perfect with it. But since we're going to see where ordered pairs come together, this is really a lot more particular. Okay, is this solid or dotted? Solid. This is going to be really hard to graph the line. We'll pretend that's straight. And above or below? Above. So I'm going to lightly do some yellow above this line. Okay? The second one, y is less than or equal to negative 1/4 x plus 6. You take 2 seconds and graph that one for me. Find your m, find your b. I'm not kidding. Do it for me. Okay, what's m? Negative 1/4. What's b? 6. So where do you start? Up 6. Down 1, right 4. Keep going. Down 1, right 4. And I'm going to go up 1, left 4. Dotted or solid? This one is solid. Above or below? This one is below. Okay, let's graph that last line. This is not in slope-intercept form yet. What do we have to do first? Divide everything by 4. That original problem, if you couldn't read it, said 4y greater than or equal to negative 15x minus 32. Divide everything by 4. For now, I'm just going to write negative 15 over 4x minus, what is 32 divided by 4? 8. Okay? So, where do we start? Down 8. Oh, look right there. We know that's going to be an ordered pair as our answer because we know they cross at 0, negative 8. There's no question. Okay? From there, I want to go down 15 and right 4. Well, not only does it not fit on my graph, but I can tell it's probably going to make a triangle going this way. So instead of down 15 and right 4, you're going to go up 15 and left 4. So from here, up 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 1, 2, 3, 4. So again, here's the other ordered pair. So I know those two are going to be answers for sure. Except for my line looks awful. And where do we shade? Above that line in purple. So if I shade above this line, do you guys see that the triangle is right here? Okay, that's the triangle that they're talking about. So the ordered pairs that they want is this one, that one, and that one question mark. So we know for sure that this ordered pair is where? Looks like negative 4, 7. Where's this one? 0, negative 8. But this third one, I have no idea where it crosses. Even if you use a ruler and have the most perfect lines ever, we can't tell where those cross. They don't cross exactly at a dot. So what we have to do is solve. So what I should have done before, sorry about that, I'll label them now. We should label our lines as we go. So let's go back. The 2x minus 8 is this line. And then this line was our third line, so the 4y, but I'm just going to label as this one. That's this line, and then this line right here is where we started up 6. So y equals negative 1/4 x plus 6. Okay, so these two lines right here is this line and this line. So we need to see where those two lines cross. There's no way to do it other than algebra. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write these two lines on the next slide, and we're going to have to solve this one mathematically. We are not able to solve it graphically. So this time when you're solving, you want to make them equal signs. So y equals negative 1/4 x plus 6. And the other one was y equals 2x minus 8. So again, that's where those two lines crossed, and we have to now solve for x and y. So if this is equal to y and this is equal to y, can't I set them equal to each other? Okay, so negative 1/4 x plus 6 equals 2x minus 8. I need you to pause now. What you need to do is you need to look that over again, make sure you understand what I did, and I also need you to solve for x and y. You should know how to do this from elimination and substitution. So pause and try it yourself. Okay, I'm not going to do that math for you. If you need me to do it, you're going to write it down, but you should get x is equal to 6 and 2 over 9. And how do you find y? Plug it back into one of these. So plug it back into either one, it doesn't matter, and you get y is 4 and 4 over 9. So I'm going to go back to our graph and put my answer in. So our third ordered pair that they want is 6 and 2 over 9, or whatever you wrote, it's the same thing, and 4 and 4 over 9. Now what you want to do is look at the graph and see if that's plausible. So 6 and something, 4 and something, yeah, that looks about right. It looks like that could be true. If I'd gotten 20, 4, then obviously that doesn't look right. So I'm going to have you guys try the next one. Pause, rewind, whatever you need to do. And here we go. You're going to try this one without me first. So the same thing. So we've got y greater than or equal to negative 3x minus 6, 2y greater than or equal to x minus 16, and 11y plus 7x less than or equal to 12. Pause, get these in slope-intercept form, graph your lines, and then hit play. Okay? So what I'm going to do is go ahead and graph this one since it's ready. If you label your lines as you go, it's a lot easier. So we need to go down 6, down 3, right 1, or up 3, left 1. That's good enough. Solid or dotted? Solid. I'm going to go ahead and label my line. Okay, and above or below? Above. So everything over here. The next one, you had to get y alone. So when you do that, you end up with y greater than or equal to 1/2 x minus 8. So go down 8, up 1, right 2, up 1, right 2, up 1, right 2. That's probably good enough for now. Solid or dotted? Solid. I'm going to label it. Above or below? Should be above. So it's everything up here. Now this last one, you have to do a little bit more work. But when you do, you end up with y less than or equal to negative 7 over 11x plus 12 over 11. You may want to make that a decimal since you're going to graph it. I have 1.09 something. So you go up a little bit farther than 1, and you go down 7 and right 11. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and right a little bit farther than that. So something like this. And up 7, left 11. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and left a little bit farther than that. So let's see here. Solid. And below. So the triangle that we're going to have below here is right in here. So these ordered pairs are going to get a little bit tricky. If you do it on your graph paper and you do it perfectly, if I keep going up and right, the first one that you get over here is going to be 8, negative 4. And the next one that you get is going to be negative 3, 3. They are going to cross both there. Again, if you use a ruler and everything, you're going to be fine. But the one that we can't tell is this one down here. We don't know where those two cross, so x comma y. So we're going to have to do all that stuff again. We're going to have to set two equations equal to each other to find the answer. So the two equations that you're going to set equal is this one and this one. So you're going to have y equals 3x minus 6 and y equals 1/2 x minus 8. When you set these two equal, you end up getting 4/7 comma negative 54/7. So you need to try that yourself. Set them equal to each other because they're both equal to y. Find x, plug it back in, you'll get y. If you still don't get this, this is where you're going to ask a question. I'm not going to do all that math for you since I just did it on the last question. Take a minute, write everything down, put questions in your question column, try to graph them again, use a ruler, whatever you need to do. Just tell yourself, I know how to graph a line, I know how to shade. If you know how to graph one line, you can graph two. If you know how to graph two, you can graph three. Just be careful. Okay?